Hi, Chris. Maybe we should take attendance for the purposes of the minutes.
Yes, because I'm not sure we have a quorum, but I need to read. I think I need to call the meeting to order in order to do roll call. But I can't call the meeting to order. Dean Schenzel? She can't hear me. Okay. Myself, present. Brenda McKeon,
I'm here.
Howard Dashevsky, Kadzo Katwana.
Present.
Oh, you are here. Okay. And Heather Alex. So it sounds like
Heather left West Hartford Public Schools. Heather Alex left West Hartford Public Schools.
Oh,
So this is Helen. John, can everyone mute themselves if you're not speaking? There's a lot of background noise. We received an email from Tor Fisk, or actually from Astrid, that said that that Heather was no longer working for West Hartford Public Schools. I reached out to Tor Fisk to ask for some advice about how to go about refilling that position, and so he suggested I reach out to Dan Zatoon, the principal at Conard High School. I'm sorry, at Hall High School. So I did reach out to him to see if there was a replacement from the Hall Guidance Department for Heather's position. And I also asked him for a follow-up that she was working on with a student to represent Hall High School. I know we have Natalie here from Conard High School. So those two are in the works. I haven't heard back from Dan, but Carl, I did copy you and Astrid and Jackie on my correspondence with him, just so that you would all be in the loop with those two roles. Those are appointed by the town council, but they really come from the Board of Education. So that's not it doesn't fall in the same category as the other memberships. So I don't know that we need a formal letter of resignation because her employment ended. So that's so Heather isn't on the committee anymore, and we are waiting for a replacement to be nominated through the Board of Education to the town council, as well as the second student. Thank you.
the meeting will come to order. This is Carl Shields, Chair of the West Hartford Prevention Council, and I'd like to welcome to the virtual September 10th meeting of the council, because in-person attendance at public meetings is likely to increase the risk of transmission of COVID-19. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with Governor Lamont's Executive Order Number 7B, which permits municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Commission members and some town staff are participating by WebEx, and members of the public can access this meeting by calling 1-408-418-9388 and using the access code 132-372-9359. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before I begin. First, I ask all participants to please mute your devices when you are not speaking. If you wish to be recognized, please raise your hand and I will call on you. If you are participating via audio only, or I do not call on you and the debate is ending, then please unmute your phone and let me know so that I can recognize you. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Third, because of the difficulty in tallying voice votes on a video conference, I will require that votes be taken by roll. Fourth, I would like to describe how the hand-raising process will work. Unfortunately, our conference technology does not allow us to identify individual callers by name. So when the public comment portion of the meeting begins, the moderator will randomly unmute one call-in line, and ask everyone to say their names at the same time. The voice that we hear will belong to the person whose line is unmuted. That person will then be recognized by the moderator and asked to restate their name and provide their street address. We will repeat this process until we have unmuted every phone line. It is very important that you say your name each time you are prompted by the moderator. If the moderator unmutes a phone line and does not hear a voice after the prompt, that phone line will be removed from the conference. I will now call the roll. And the first time was just for the purposes of seeing who was on the call, but this is actually for the record. And I know the attorney had a conversation with me about that, so that's what I'll do. Jean Schenzel, Nordia Napier, not present, I guess. Jonathan Merritt.
Present.
Carl Shields is here. Brenda McKeon.
Present.
Howard Deshevsky. Kadza Kangwana.
Present.
I'm sorry, Kadzo, I mispronounced your name. Sorry about that. And that's it. Well, welcome all. I'd like to have approval for the minutes of June 11th, unless people have comments or amendments or revisions that they would like to speak about.
Carl, before you move on to that, this is Helen Rubino Turco. I just wanted to remark on the ex officio members who are present for the record so that you can also
Okay.
count them.
Okay, I'll go through the list for that.
Thank you.
Helen Drohan. Tor Fisk. Ari Steinberg.
Here.
Amanda Martin. James Mahoney. Helen Rubino Turco. I know you're here, Helen. I guess she can't hear me. Matthew Hart and Sherry Cantor.
Oh, God, don't tell.
Carl, you muted yourself.
Carl, you're muted.
Still muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Carl, keep your finger off the mute button.
It says mute now.
That's fine. Leave it there.
Okay. Helen Drohan. I don't know what to tell you. It says mute.
I can hear you.
Okay. Tor Fisk. Ari Steinberg.
Here.
Okay, Amanda Martin, James Mahoney, Helen Rubino Turco, Matthew Hart, and Sherry Cantor. Okay. I don't know who can hear me and who can't, but
We can all hear you now, I think.
okay, even though my screen says mute, so it's a little bit confusing to me. Andrea, I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you, so.
Sorry, I had mine on mute.
Oh,
If it
no
says,
wonder.
if it says mute, you're live. If it says unmute, then you're muted. Okay?
It's the reverse of what I see?
Yes.
Well, no friggin' wonder I'm confused. Okay, you can't do this to somebody with my capacity for this. Okay, all right, let's move on. Approval of minutes. The minutes of the meeting of June 11th. Any comments or revisions or changes, or people feel we're ready to vote on them? If so, I'd like to motion to accept.
So move.
And a second for that? Can someone?
I second that.
Okay.
Councilor Penguana.
Okay, so Jean is already in favor.
No, I'm just, no, moved.
Yes, I know. So you're in favor. Nordia? Is Nordia here? Are you in favor?
Sure, I'm in favor, Carl.
Okay, and Jonathan? Jonathan, are you in favor? I have to do it this way, right? Hello, Jonathan.
Yes, I'm in favor.
Okay, and I'm in favor. Brenda
Yes, I'm in favor.
and Kadzo?
I'm in favor.
Okay, that's it. They're accepted. Old business, needs assessment surveys and reports. I know I sent out a huge amount of information attached with the June, prior to the June meeting, actually, and also a sort of a 2-page summary document that said what all of that information was about. I actually read through most of that information over the summertime. I don't know who else looked through some of it or not. And it really was an eye-opener for me because we've had discussions about need assessment and looking at what would we focus on in the town of West Hartford in the coming year from a prevention council perspective, knowing what we have focused on and just kind of what people's thoughts are about prevention in our town. What does the data support, and given what our experiences are, what our beliefs are, what our perceptions are? And sometimes they're in agreement, sometimes they're not, sometimes there are surprises, sometimes it's very validating to go to the data. This has been a process that's been underway with DEMIS and other organizations in our state for several decades. And it became clear, from my perspective anyway, in reading through these multiple voluminous documents, that a lot of it was not town specific. And the state of Connecticut and many of these other organizations are very clear in saying, we wished it were. We have some little pieces of that. And the documents themselves that I distributed had some little pieces of that. One of the things that I found most intriguing was the State Epidemiological Outcomes Work Group. They have a prevention data portal, which gathers together all of that data from probably 35 or 40 organizations statewide that gather all of that data. They probably have from what I could tease out from all of these documents, more data on West Hartford than any other data gathering organization in Connecticut. And under this umbrella of the Prevention and Health Promotion Unit, which was one of the things that I sent you folks, there's a Training and Technical Assistance Service Center. Their job is to help organizations, community organizations like us, to figure out how to get that data and information. That was enormously helpful. So even though this was a boatload of stuff, I think in terms of a needs assessment for West Hartford, knowing what we already know, because a lot of the experts are already at the table and on this council. And when we then have perhaps other data that exists from all these statewide organizations that have little pieces, the mission of these technical assistance service centers and the prevention data portal is to help community organizations get more specific. From my perspective, it seems like we should somehow get together with them and have them help us figure out what do they have, what do we have, where could we go. They don't tell us, of course. You know, we look at the data and then we decide where we should go. But at least they've been doing this with other communities across the state of Connecticut for decades, at least since 2000, 2005, from what I could make out. West Hartford's been doing a great job with many of these things and is way ahead of the curve in many areas. But there's a service center that just does technical assistance, just what we've been talking about doing. So that was one of the exciting things I thought from all these documents that I passed out. So in terms of next steps, I think it clarified for me what some of those might be. So I guess I'm curious about if other people had thoughts. I can only see 3 people. Oh. So if somebody's raising their hand, I can't really see them. Oh, Jean?
So Carl, were you talking about, just to clarify again, which portal you're talking about, the one that Connecticut Data, whatever it's called, is involved in?
The State Epidemiological Outcomes Work Group.
Right.
Is one that has the data portal.
Yes, right. Okay. I was just up there. Okay.
Then also the Training and Technical Assistance Service Center that would come, they could even come to this council and say, this is what you need. Or they could come to a work group of the council and say, this is what we would suggest, or this is how you would look at things.
So I'm willing to, since I work with some of these people on other projects, I'm willing to participate in a discussion with them. And we've also done 2 previous needs assessments for West Hartford. And I can show you what data we used for DEMIS on West Hartford, from West Hartford, or when it wasn't available from other sources. So I would be willing to work with you and anybody else on how to maximize available data resources, including resources that they may not have. For example, they don't have school data necessarily. They don't have police department data. There may be other, they don't necessarily have treatment data from West Hartford, so there may be other local data sources that would be relevant as well.
Well, I'd be happy to work with you on that, and maybe other folks on the council could think about if they're willing or interested in working on that up also. Because I think other council members have a lot of that working knowledge too, and resources that I certainly don't have.
I think this would be something nice for Natalie to participate in. Do you like numbers, Natalie?
Definitely.
It's all about the numbers. So why don't you?
Oh, sorry, what?
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I have firsthand experience in the schools, and I think that gathering data and doing research would be super easy as, I'm in the school currently.
Right. Perfect.
Right? Okay. Well, great. Well, we'll talk more about this. Thank you all.
Carl, this is Helen. I was Helen Rubino Turco. I was bumped out because of bad Wi-Fi in my house apparently. So I'm calling in, but I just wanted to thank you for the time and the effort that you and Astrid and others put into gathering all of that information and getting those studies together and distributed, and also Jean for stepping up to, with your expertise to assist Carl in getting this ball rolling. We really appreciate, and Natalie, appreciate that. I think this is a very important, not a quick project, but a very important project that I think will be very meaningful for the town. So I appreciate your extra effort in these areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. I'm looking forward to it. I think it will have meaning for West Hartford, so it's a worthwhile effort as far as I'm concerned. And I welcome anyone's input, offline or online. So
I was just thinking, I'm sorry I'm not muting myself, but that's really hard. I wonder if Helen, maybe Astrid or somebody else from the Department of Social Services would want to participate in this quote data. I think you also have a lot of both working knowledge and possibly data sources. Is that possible?
Oh, we'll certainly be discussing that. Thank you.
Okay. We need to move on to old business. Oh, that was old business. We need to move on to new business.
I'm sorry, Carl, I apologize. This is Helen Rubino Turco again. I'm sorry for interrupting, but if I missed the part of the agenda that was about board membership, I think I discussed it mostly at the beginning.
That's what we're moving on. That's what we're moving on to right now.
Oh, I apologize.
Under new business. We have vacancies in the Prevention Council. We have vacancy for a substance abuse counselor currently. We had a recommendation from Ari of a very strong candidate.
And if I could just speak to that, Carl, I don't. I know that you and I had corresponded.
Yes.
About this. So, because this is a West Hartford Town Council commission or council, this group has to have a balance of political parties represented, and we currently do not have a member from the minority party that is recognized on the commission. And so we're out of compliance with a rule that the town council has that all of its commissions have, a diversity in representation from political parties. And although we have several unaffiliated, we do require a position to be filled by a Republican. And so the other complexity that Astrid and Jackie have been working on is also bringing us into line as best we can to also duplicate our efforts as to be a local prevention council. And this is something that the Connecticut Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, DEMAS, very much wants us to, the town of West Hartford, to have a local prevention council. And because this group, this prevention council, has many of the overlapping segments of our community represented, it makes a lot of sense that this organization would dovetail as our local prevention council. And it calls very sensibly, it calls for representation from a bunch of different categories, including the youth, which we have, a parent representative, which we have, town government, which we have, and youth serving, which we have, civic volunteers, which we have, and education, which we have, and law enforcement. So you can see that we've ticked off many of the boxes. The things that are missing perhaps are persons with lived experience, faith or religious, and media. Those are, and also business. And so it's difficult to find, a worthy candidate who's doing substance abuse counseling that would be able to fit. And obviously, the name that was that Ari Steinberg suggested apply is a wonderful fit. We also have on our committee several members that are at large or members of the community with an interest. So we do have three positions on our council that have terms that are ending in 2020 at the end of this year. One of them is currently vacant. One of them is Nordia Napier, who filled an important role as the parent representative. And it would be our intention, Nordia, if you were willing, and Carl and I and Astrid have spoken about this, that you would continue and your term would be, you would be reappointed. And Jean Sensual, who also has a term ending on December 31st, has also expressed some interest in willing to serve if needed, but is willing to move on and just be kind of working with the group or continuing to participate, but not as a voting member. And perhaps that she has served the longest of anyone on this committee, and in order to give others a chance, but also to kind of be compliant with our, unfortunately, with the government rule. And I shouldn't say unfortunately, it is just like a rule that we have to live under, that we might be able to find a way of filling both positions, recruiting an R through the usual channels, which is we reach out to the minority chair and we find a worthy candidate who's willing to serve. And perhaps that person might be able to check one of the boxes, the business, the person with lived experience, the faith religious, or one of the other, the media. So we're kind of trying to fulfill multiple tracks, but I think we're also, trying to be honest about and meet our obligation as a governmental council. So so with that, I think it's important to just say this is a work in progress, and we'll have to update you at our next meeting if we've been able to identify anyone else, and then also ask our esteemed town clerk, who's very busy right now with an election coming up, if what happens if we're unable to find a representative from the minority party? Are we allowed to just continue, or what happens? So as I said, I'll just keep you tuned, stay tuned on that one.
Okay.
I would maybe, sorry, it's Nordia. maybe if we keep it as an agenda item every month and just provide updates, and then when we hear from the clerk clarification, that might keep us afloat. The fact that
Yep.
we're actively talking about it, putting it in the minutes, we're trying, and it is what it is sometimes.
Exactly. Yes.
Just, Helen, I just had a couple of points. Thank you for that clarification. One was, do we know if one of the candidates was an independent? Would that fit? Do they have to be Republican? That would be one of the questions I would have.
Okay, so that was a great question. If everybody heard the question, it was, does an unaffiliated count as, and unfortunately it does not. I asked that question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can people hear me? There's a lot of background noise.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise. Okay, that's better.
I did ask the question of the town clerk, and she said it does not, that an unaffiliated does not count. We have to have a member of the minority party.
Okay. And the other thing that we don't necessarily need to ask, but given that 1 out of 4 people in their lifetimes have an issue with mental health or substance use, and there are 8 council members, it is, people may meet the criteria in more than one box.
I agree. And I also think that is, I don't know how other towns or other local prevention councils fulfill that part of the wheel, but I would think that might not be something that we would be looking for. Obviously, I think that we should be looking perhaps for the faith, religious, the media, and the business would be the ones that I would focus on. And I would defer to Astrid and Jackie if they had a different opinion.
Okay.
Hi, this is Kadzo Kangwana. Just a comment. I currently am serving as a mental health professional, but I'm also the chair of the local spiritual assembly of the Baha'is of West Hartford. So, I'm happy to volunteer to take that box for religious some persons. I'm also at this year the chair of the assembly. So just to let you know that.
Well, that's wonderful. It adds a level of complexity and variety to your service, and I appreciate you letting us know about that area of your life. And so that's very helpful. I think we should, and unless Astrid and Jackie feel differently, focus perhaps on the media and the business.
This is Astrid Calderon. As Helen mentioned, what we're trying to do is to have the 2 requirements together. So Jackie, right now, it's going to send you an email that have some sort of a wheel with all the requirements from the local prevention council. That will be the assignment that we need to fulfill. And then, as Helen explained, we have to have a balance since this is a town commission with both parties and unaffiliated. So maybe for next meeting, we can, and from now to next meeting, we can take a look who is that we have. We can also have ask questions to amplify our local prevention council mother, let's put it that way. If a person like Katso can have 2 roles as in one person, and then for next meeting we can be maybe better prepared, and that's my suggestion for now.
That sounds great, and I think leaving it on your agenda, Carl, as an ongoing that the way Nordia suggested is also a great idea. I'm sorry this has taken up so much time. I didn't intend that, and I appreciate everyone's attention.
Okay. Thank you, Helen. We can move on to the Social Services Director report.
I defer to Astrid.
Okay.
This is Astrid Calderon. I sent an email before I came to the meeting
Yes,
to everybody.
I'm sorry, could you turn your volume down a little bit? I think that's where a lot of the, much better.
You know what? I was rubbing papers maybe on top of the microphone. That's why. I sent an email before coming to the meeting with some of the questions that Nordia asked. So I'm going to use that as part of the report quickly. The pandemic took us by surprise, of course, like everybody else, and we quickly have to cancel some of the activities. The most impacted ones were the National Prevention Week at the beginning of March. That was canceled, but exactly on May 6th, we agree to put something in our website. So listening to all of you, especially Carl, Katso, and echoing Helen too, the decision was to put something in the website under the social services website, the wellness. What we did, as Carl suggested, was creating a healthier life, a step-by-step guide to wellness. This is done by the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. So we posted that. It's still there. You guys can take a look to try to fulfill something about Prevention Week. During the May and August, there was a decision that cases from truancy, beyond control, and delinquencies will be managed by the Juvenile Review Board. So I sent an email explaining how is that we will address those cases. This is new, and we will be managing that. You have it on an email. If you have any questions, just let me know. But essentially, it's under the umbrella of the Juvenile Review Board. I also added some links with information, trainings for people, like if they wanted to know more, maybe Jonathan and Chris, some resources for both of you. And this is going to be, as well as for the school system, this is going to be a collaboration between the juvenile court, the school system, us, and the bridge. So it's a group working in progress, but it's new. This is difficult cases, but we receive a very small amount. Most recently, and again, I don't want to minimize this topic because we started talking a little bit about that. It was actually last year, I believe, we did mention something about the persons who are panhandling in town. This year, we received a lot of comments, feedback, requests, complaints, people in a positive way and negative way. This is something that also involves a lot of people in the community. So we decided to post something about panhandling in the website. If you go to our page, it's there. I also attach it to you guys. In general, is recommendations and what to do. We use, this is not my idea. This is materials that from a training that we receive. And this is something that other towns in other states are dealing with. So we try to use the same language to see if there's something that something to address and start a discussion and see how can we put this together. It's going to be a big project. I don't want to let it go in a way because the winter, the fall and the winter will hide people from the streets, obviously. But then the next summer we will have the same problem if we don't do something or we don't organize ourselves around that. I also wanted to say that we applied for the grant for the next year grant. That's part of the report. Jackie did the application. I'm finishing up with a report from last year and some of the actions that were pending. Because of the pandemic, we canceled a lot of stuff. But those activities need to be done. So I'm going to be finishing a report. I will be ready to report at length next meeting. And the new application for the Local Prevention Council grant, I don't know if we will have time to discuss it, but Jackie submitted it. It changed the game. Meets all of you guys, your feedback. This is activities that are related to vaping. The grant is for $7,141, and they changed the requirements and the complete proposal this year. And that's all from me. I don't know if Jackie or Helen wanted to add something else.
This is Helen. Thank you so much for outlining the change in truancy. I know that was an issue that Nordia had wanted to discuss. And I think panhandling, we're not really calling it a task force, but it's a working group to look at panhandling and how to address it in a more systemic way, and in a thoughtful way. And that's in collaboration with the police department. And we're really grateful that Dan Coppinger is such a compassionate person, assistant police chief as a person. And so we look forward to working with him on that. And I know the Amplify Grant has changed a lot of its parameters. And so Jackie, I just want to thank Jackie also for your work in getting that application in, and on this commission's participation in how to identify projects and that we can fulfill that grant. Thank you.
This is Jacqueline. Oh, I just wanted to kind of say to Helen as well. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Astrid. This application would not have been submitted if not for Helen, your legwork in getting all the signatures, and I really thank you for that. And as Astrid stated, the goal, the overarching goal in this grant is the reduction of vaping among 12 to 18-year-olds. They're targeting that age group, and definitely we want all council members to kind of think about how to best fulfill this goal and what kinds of things we can do. There are different areas that they're looking at, such as capacity building, coalition building, monitoring, assessing, community needs, so on and so forth. But we'll talk a little bit more in our future meetings about it. Thank you.
Hi there, this is Natalie. Just a quick thing to say. This is also something that I feel very passionately about, obviously, because it's targeting my age group. And if there's anything that I can do to help, just going off what Jacqueline said, forming a coalition or whatever, please just let me know. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
It's Nordia, sorry. Thanks, Astrid, for touching on that. I didn't get the email, so I don't know if you can resend it to me. And if there's a way, were you guys thinking of putting a flyer or some type of information to parents? Because typically parents who do need the help know to find out that they could file the petition, and some have probably filed in the past and may not know the laws have changed. And usually DCF sometimes is involved at that level if it's to the extreme. So I didn't know if there was a flyer that schools or the community, or a link that we could have on our website and talk with the schools about letting parents know what is available and how they can access support through the JRB. And then two, I was just wondering if Teresa or whoever in the JRB is leading it up, are they a part of the coalition's restorative justice practices and trainings? Because there's a lot of trainings around this from the state level. And so I didn't know if that was also part of this new initiative. And then again, maybe in the future we could talk more about when things calm down with schools, about the school response to this new law change and this new group that you guys are forming to address it, if any petitions come up.
This is Helen Nordia. I know a lot of information was emailed. Perhaps it went to your spam. I know sometimes emails from Town Hall, from westhartfordct.gov, go to people's spam folders, especially if they're on AOL or Yahoo. So that might be the situation with you. I'm not sure, but we're happy to provide additional copies. I just don't know if that was the case. And I do know Teresa is well versed in restorative justice. In fact, that's been one of the goals that she and Chris have been Chris Dutton from the Bridge have been talking a lot about. And I do think also that you know, I'm sure Jonathan from your role at the Teen Center will want to chime in too at some point, maybe at the next meeting when we can dive into a little bit more into programs for vaping. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. The West Hartford Bloomfield Health District report. I don't.
Helen Drohan is missing. I don't think we have a report from them.
Okay.
I know they've got their hands very busy with enforcing social distancing and mask wearing in the center. They're also conducting flu clinics coming up, and they're also getting prepared, believe it or not, for a distribution of the vaccine, of the coronavirus vaccine, when it finally becomes available.
Wow.
So there's a lot of extra work that's going into that whole program, but they do have enforcement going on for social distancing. And I think, you know, a lot of their focus has been on coronavirus recently, but we do want to encourage everyone and anyone to, if they can, to get a flu shot, because that will help diminish the instances of people getting very ill and needing hospitalization. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. West Hartford Public School Board of Ed.
I have, this is Astrid Calderon. Can I add something? Regarding past grant, last year, the Department of West Hartford Health, West Hartford and Bloomfield Health District requested a banner for the Take Back Day, which was on April. This is for people to drop medications or new medications. That was canceled this year. That banner was purchased and it's going to be delivered soon. The next Take Back Day is supposed to be in October. As Helen mentioned, we don't know if they will be able to make it, but we're here to support, and we will make sure that we announce that Take Back Day appropriately. I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you. The Public School Board of Ed report.
Hi, Carl. This is Brenda McEwen. Tor is not here today. I didn't receive anything from him to share out. I'm not sure if anyone has any specific questions. I can say just one thing that I became aware of this week regarding food insecurity or food security, that all the students are eligible for free lunch and free breakfast in the whole town. So they don't have to be on the free or reduced lunch program. They can all have access. I'm not sure how that works for the students who are doing the remote only learning, but as far as the kids who are coming into the school.
Wow, that's great.
They have pickup sites this
Okay.
week at Hall and Connor, and they're going to expand maybe to Charter Oak. So the virtual kids, students will be able to pick up as well.
That's a great thing.
Also,
report
social workers from the, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, who's talking?
This is Astrid Calderon.
Okay.
Also, some of the social workers from the schools have been calling us So we have been trying to update all the time all the possibilities about food, regarding food pantries, the mobile food share. If people need gift cards for Stop and Shop, they can reach to me. Also, during the storm Isaias, the Department of Social Services automatically returned 20% of the food stamps for everybody in West Hartford who have food stamps. There was a way to get 100% of the food stamps. So we did put together the forms, etc., so people can recover the month of August, because a lot of people lost everything when the power was off. So we have been working into that. The food topic continued to be an ongoing topic. So let me know if there's people that, due to language barriers, if they're undocumented, etc., they don't have access to food stamps, so we can provide assistance, the rest of the year.
Okay. Thank you.
This is
Okay,
Helen.
what
Since
the
we're on,
school's
this
doing
is
too.
Helen. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Helen?
Head out.
I can't see you.
Yeah, this is Helen. I'm sorry if Nordia was speaking. So Nordia, did you want to say something?
Briefly, in terms of the school piece, not representing the Board of Ed, but I know Rosina, part of her cultural compass equity committee, they're rolling out social emotional learning and anti-racist learning, and it's all levels, all grades. Kids in the schools will be getting it's a curriculum that was written this summer, and parents are involved to help support it and give feedback and guidance, and the kids will get a lot of social emotional support, as well as education regarding anti-racism, which is pretty new for the town. And I think it bodes well with prevention, particularly for kids. And in terms of the vaping, before we move on, if we could partner maybe with University of Hartford, Hartford University, UHart, to see if there's like some support there, because we are really reaching that college group, and maybe they can help with some of this. If there's someone who's maybe in that field who can volunteer, maybe that's a way to get them on the board. They could be Republican as well, so just to put that out there.
Thank you for that suggestion.
I'm sorry, but Nordia, there is someone, an individual at St. Joseph, who is a community outreach person who specializes in just that topic.
No, I'm just saying to get a Republican and maybe have another eyes. We haven't been reaching out to the college community as much as we should probably.
This is Helen. I just wanted to update everyone on the food pantry, since we were talking about food insecurity. So the food pantry, the West Hartford Food Pantry, is operating outside there. We're distributing food 3 days a week for a 2-hour period. So it is Tuesday afternoons and Thursday and Friday mornings. And we used to distribute about 400 bags a month, so about 100 bags a week. And we're now, we're distributing between 150 and 200 bags a week. So we're up to 600 or 800 bags a month, which, so, there's been a vast increase during, due to coronavirus. We've been doing some comparisons of, last year at this time versus this year at this time. And the only thing that we can find that's different is because of coronavirus. So we do know that the need is out there, and we do appreciate the efforts that the school's doing, as well as social services, and reaching out to people that maybe fall between the cracks or are new to our system. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to give a quick Board of Ed update, just to let everyone know we had our first, we met during the summer, but we had our first in-person Board of Ed meeting last night at Town Hall. I believe it was recorded, and each member of board of the administrative team presented an update regarding what they had done throughout the summer in preparation for the start of the school year. So if anyone's interested, it is a very informative meeting, and I do believe it's recorded on the local television. So, and we have 2 new student representatives to the Board of Ed who started their term yesterday. And as far as I know, it seems like the first 2 days, A through K went smoother than people anticipated. And my son is in the second, he started today. I'm not sure how that went, but I think overall, students were really happy to be back and teachers were excited to be back. So I'm hoping that we keep moving in a positive direction.
Thank you for that update, Ari. Very positive. Youth Services Bureau report.
Hi, this is Chris Dutton from the Bridge, Clinical Director of Community and School-Based Services, and oversee the YSB. So just a quick update. We did programming throughout the summer. It went very well. We did both group and individual mentoring in person, which was great for, I think, the kids, and honestly great for my staff. I think John would agree. It felt like a little bit of a return to normal in some ways, as normal as you can get, being able to be in person. So they did individual mentoring, including field trips. We also continued to have our Teen Center leadership group meet on a regular basis, and they did some leadership development and also field trips as well, which positioned us to be ready to start our fall programming, school-based programming, so our mentoring and in-school counseling. And in-school counseling is a little bit outside of the YSB per se, but it's linked. Will not be happening in the schools at this point in time because we aren't able to go into the schools for the immediate future. But we'll continue to offer our services virtually the same way that we did in the springtime. I really commend my folks for being able to connect with kids and keep them coming back through a computer screen. Doing a little bit of telehealth therapy, I know how difficulty it is to be able to reach through the screen and get kids to kind of agree with you that this is a positive thing to be doing. But they all did a great job, and we're looking forward to being able to see them continue that in the fall. And then we will also dive into Teen Center programming. At the moment, Elmwood Community Center is not accessible due to some other programming that's taking place there. But for the month of September and October, at least the beginning of October, before weather becomes a problem, we'll be doing programming at the Beachland Park. So we've got plans to have basketball clinic and a mini basketball league, a soccer clinic, some photography activities, and we're also going to do a video game club, and that'll happen at the Bridge's new location at Shield Street. So we've got some materials there, and so kids that are interested in that will be able to participate there as well. A little bit different ways to do things. You know, typically Teen Center is drop-in, and kind of kids can just come. We're going to have kids sign up ahead of time so that we know who's coming and where to sort of deploy staff, et cetera, et cetera. But we're really excited about that. You know, and just all of my staff and Bridge staff at large, the clinic, et cetera, we're all sort of prepared for a potential influx of need for services as kids return back to school, and things that may or may not have been happening during virtual learning in the summer sort of come to light, or people realize that they're really struggling with anxiety about being in school, et cetera. And so we're ready to sort of help out and be present for the community, and especially the kids in our community. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to field those. Otherwise, that's it for me.
No?
This is Helen. I just wanted to, Chris, I'd love to hear more about the programs that the Teen Center plans to do at Beachland Park. And I think that we'll need to have a plan from you the town will need to have a plan from you regarding the protocols that you'll have in place for COVID, the COVID-19. And that's something that Mark Blanchard would be happy to work with you on, so that, to make sure that can go off without a hitch. Happy to help.
Sure, great. Yeah, Mark and I have been in touch about plans and procedures, and so I'm aware that he's away this week, and I expect to connect with him probably on Monday with those things ready to go.
Fantastic. And we really appreciate the efforts that you and Jonathan did over the summer to keep the leadership group going. That was really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Happy to do it.
The West Hartford Prevention Partnership.
Sorry, my phone is ringing. I apologize. I can't stop it. So as most of you know by this time, the program that supported the West Hartford Prevention Partnership activities is over. Ken, or the team that has worked with everybody and is now moving on to other work or going to school. So I'm just going to give you a rundown on what has happened personally. So Ken Fleward has had a baby. He and his wife had a baby girl. And so he is now a happy new father, and has taken a position with the consulting firm to DEMIS, and is now working with prevention coalitions to train them and do capacity building around the state. So I'm guessing that he might be a resource to West Hartford in that capacity once he hasn't started formally yet. But he might be available in the future to provide some additional support. David Reyes is now full-time in school, in the School of Social Work, working on food justice issues, and he will be doing an internship with another organization on food justice. So that is all very good news. In terms of sort of moving along, there are a couple of things that I just wanted to mention. First of all, the 2019 high school data are up or will be up very shortly on the West Hartford Prevention Partnership website. I'm trying to send you a link because I want to make we did a full analysis of the mental health data in particular, and there's quite a lot to be learned from that analysis in terms of different types of mental health issues, who are the groups of people most likely to be experiencing them, where they're coming up in terms of age, and not so much school, because we don't see real differences across schools, but age, grade, and that sort of thing. So what is the link? I can't find all in the chat. How can I send this link to everybody via chat? Because I'm not seeing all on the chat list.
You can share it, but you can't really email it out to people from the chat. So you
No, I
have
just
to
want
do
to
that.
share it. Can I share it by
on your screen, but you can't email it.
No, I don't want to email it. I want, if I send it to West Hartford Community Interactive, will that get to everybody?
No, you want to hit the share button. There's a share button there.
Oh. No, it's not that share button. Okay, I'll have to email it when we're offline. Can I share and just show you what it looks like on the screen? Let me try that. Do I have permission to share? I do.
How long is this going to take, Jean?
I'm not showing. I just want to show you what the website looks like. I'm not going to speak about it.
Okay.
So just so you can see, we looked at the 4 mental health variables by
Okay.
school and so on. So that's all. I just wanted to show you.
Okay, great.
This is Helen. I just wanted to remark on the work that the West Hartford Prevention Partnership did, and we will be, examining ways of sharing or uploading information that they did on the town's website, or being able to disseminate it whenever possible. And we also just wanted to wish, Jean, if you could pass along our best wishes to Ken Plord. He was, we really appreciate all the work he did in West Hartford. I know Jonathan and Chris probably would join me in thanking him for his service to all of the activities that he participated in. But it was just really great to work with him, obviously with David Reyes as well, but we just wanted to pass along our best wishes to Ken. Thank you.
I will be more than happy to do that. I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
Yeah, please.
And he will miss all of you, I'm sure, and hopefully we'll see you in the future.
Yeah.
So I think our meeting is over, so I won't go on any further. But there's one other thing I would like to say, and that is that through that project, we did a brief sleep study with young adults in the Elmwood area, working with someone who used to work the leadership group, Liliane Oliveira. And I think that group of young adults is identified, underserved, and fairly, I would say, vulnerable group, and one that I'd like to suggest the Prevention Council take a closer look at in West Hartford. They're young adults who aren't in school. They're not college students. Some of them, they're in between work. The work that they would be doing has been interrupted. And so they're a kind of high-risk group that is under the radar. So with that, I'll end the West Hartford Prevention Partnership report and suggest that unless there's any further need to, we can probably take it off the agenda.
Okay. Thank you, Jean. Thank you for all your work with this.
Been a pleasure. And I'm sure it will continue.
Yes. Upcoming events or activities of interest? It's a whole nother topic in this era of COVID, isn't it?
Yeah, one other, I do want to also mention this, Carl, because it has to do with how the Prevention Council might work with other commissions. I would say that loneliness and isolation and depression in older adults is an issue. It's definitely in the aging community, aging in place in West Hartford, in some of the apartment buildings where people are kind of locked in and don't necessarily have any place to go. It's an arena of investigation and concern that perhaps the council would like to also pay attention to.
Okay, thank you for identifying that.
And briefly, that's why I mentioned Suicide Prevention Month, that not to have an event, obviously, but just to pass out information to all our stakeholders in the community.
Yep. I agree with you both.
This is Astrid Calderon. I just wanted to mention that one of our challenges is, number one, the 2 months during the summer for activities for continuity. That was, a challenge, especially this year. Also, this is a commission that provide recommendations to the town. One of the challenges, again, is that some of the ideas need actions. So sometimes we need the hands to put together these activities. So eventually, as part of the, planning, some coalitions, some other task groups need to be formed to make sure that there's a continuity and there's an action behind recommendations and discussions.
Astrid, it just occurs to me with the, what we put together for the the little quick workbooks for wellness activities. If we could, and I don't know if Demas, if we could print some out, or Demas could print some out, or we could get some from SAMHSA to distribute to the senior housing facilities in West Hartford. You know, when we're talking about loneliness and isolations, and for the seniors about what they might do differently, to at least stimulate amongst themselves things that they could do.
Again, we're happy to contemplate any project. Believe it or not, something simple can evolve in something more difficult because of lack of budget for posts, for mailing, for example, or looking for sponsors for an event or for something to buy, or etc. There are initiatives that are happening right now with the seniors that you guys might not know. If you want a little bit of an update about what have been happening through the years, and especially this year with seniors, we can go next meeting and put it together and present. But we, the social services, with the community partnerships and West Hartford Housing Authority Fellowship and Federation have been, and always historically have been, working together very close. So, but again, we can update you on what is that we have been doing and activities that we do with the churches as well, and synagogues and other community members. And then you guys can see what it's in place and make other additional suggestions and little projects that we can put together.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we've come to the time for, there's no other events or activities of interest. We'll move on to comments. And our WebEx host will take phone calls, is what I think happens next. Correct? Do we have any phone calls? Andrea?
I had myself muted. What was that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I had myself muted. You were asking me a question?
Yes, I'm asking if there are any questions or phone calls that we have to address.
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
The only caller that we've never identified himself hung up, so.
Well, we don't take unidentified callers, is my understanding. So then I would like a motion to call this meeting for adjournment. Do I have such a motion? Could I see somebody's hand?
Jonathan Merritt, Youth Services Coordinator. I move to adjourn meeting.
Okay. So moved by Jonathan Merritt. Do I have a second from someone? I need to see a hand.
Katso,
I move to second that.
A second. Jean Schenchel, yay or nay? Jean, hello?
Yay.
Nordia? Nordia? Nordia, yay or nay?
I said yay.
Oh, I'm
said
sorry,
yay.
I didn't hear
It's
you.
okay. It's okay.
Carl says yes. Brenda?
Yay.
Okay. Howard's not here. Well, that's it. Meeting is adjourned. Have a lovely September. We'll see you October 8th at 5 o'clock. Bye, all.
Bye, everybody.